Hello, and thank you so much for your interest in the City of Aurora's Open Space and Natural Resources Volunteer Steward Program. I am thrilled that you are considering being a part of our team of dedicated stewards to Aurora's natural resources. My name is Fendi Dupre, and I am a Natural Resource Specialist and the Volunteer Coordinator for the City of Aurora's Open Space and Natural Resources Division, OSNR for short, and my office is at the Plains Conservation Center. The goal of this orientation is to introduce you to the City of Aurora's Open Space and Natural Resources Division and to go over the available OSNR volunteer opportunities, requirements, and benefits. Hopefully, I will convince you all to become OSNR volunteers. The City of Aurora has over 8,000 acres of open space, also called natural areas. These are native ecosystems preserved for wildlife and human health. There are over 103 miles of trail in Aurora, and many of the trails connect to regional trails in the Denver metro area, including the Sand Creek Regional Greenway Trail and the Highline Canal Trail. These trails are important corridors for wildlife, like the creeks and streams in our urban areas, and are highly valuable recreational systems for people. There are two reservoirs in Aurora, the Aurora Reservoir and the Quincy Reservoir. The Aurora Reservoir is the city's drinking water storage. So if you live in Aurora, that water that comes out of your tap is from the Aurora Reservoir. Quincy Reservoir used to be drinking water storage, but it is no longer used as such. Today, it provides essential habitat for the diversity of plant and animal life that live there. We have 3 nature centers that are a part of the city's Open Space and Natural Resources Division, where we teach about Aurora's natural and cultural history. And I'll talk more about each nature center momentarily. There are several different ecosystems in Aurora that you can help care for as an OSNR volunteer. The shortgrass prairie is the dominant natural ecosystem in Aurora. Upwards of 90% of Aurora was shortgrass prairie before human infrastructure was developed. The prairie consists of wide open spaces, rolling hills of short-growing grasses and plants, and lots of sunshine. We only receive about 12 to 15 inches of precipitation per year in Aurora, which classifies us as a semi-arid climate. This is a step up from a desert. Since the prairie receives such little water, the ecosystem doesn't support many trees. That lack of trees allows wind to gain really high speeds and in some cases lead to tornadoes. There are extreme temperature fluctuations on the prairie. There can be a 40-degree temperature difference in a single day. The Great Plains are often referred to as the land of extremes, and the most extreme temperature difference ever recorded was on the North American prairie and was a 100-degree difference in a single day. The shortgrass prairie evolved with reoccurring wildfires and requires them for a healthy, thriving ecosystem. Despite its desolate appearance and harsh conditions, the Great Plains of North America are one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet, and they are also the most threatened because of habitat loss. Riparian ecosystems are strips of land that border a body of water like a creek, stream, or pond. The presence of water supports different plant and animal species than the upland prairie. Riparian ecosystems are dominated by water-loving plants like cattails, sedges, and rushes. They're important travel corridors for wildlife in urban areas where a lot of natural areas have been broken up or fragmented. And they act as ribbons of life in our semi-arid climate, providing precious water for wildlife and humans. Wetlands can be naturally occurring that are a part of a floodplain or are man-made, like retention ponds and reservoirs. Lowland wetlands are close to the water table and characterized by water-loving trees and plants. Wetlands are important for water quality and clean out pollutants, which directly affect human use of that water. This ecosystem is essential for migrating birds, reptiles, amphibians, and macroinvertebrates. Aquatic ecosystems include the living and non-living things that are under the water, like fish, crawdads, and aquatic plants. Finally, Aurora has ponderosa pine savanna. This ecosystem has a higher elevation, and because of that, it supports the growth of ponderosa pine trees. Ponderosa Preserve is an open space in Aurora made up of ponderosa savanna, and it is the northernmost tip of the Black Forest that extends from Colorado Springs. It's made up of ponderosa pines with an understory of shortgrass prairie. These are the ecosystems that we have in Aurora that you, as an OSNR volunteer, will be helping to maintain for wildlife and people. Aurora has 3 nature centers that provide education on various ecosystems that we have here. The first one is the Plains Conservation Center, which encompasses 1,100 acres of shortgrass prairie and has a replica teepee camp, a homestead village, to provide experiences on Colorado cultural history. The second is the Senac Creek Nature Center, which is located at the Aurora Reservoir and has educational material on riparian, wetland, and aquatic ecosystems. And the third one is the Morrison Nature Center, which is located at Star K Ranch and has 160 acres of lowland riparian and prairie ecosystems. If you have not been to our nature centers, I highly encourage you to visit and learn more about the ecosystems we just went over. Just to give you an idea of the departmental structure of Aurora, here's a nice flow chart. The Open Space and Natural Resources Division is housed under the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Department. Our director is Brooke Bell, and our deputy city manager is Laura Perry. Like I just mentioned, the Open Space and Natural Resources Division is housed under the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Department, also called PROS. You will often see us as an integral part of PROS on social media and other marketing platforms. The PROS mission statement is encouraging active lifestyles and creating healthy environments for people, nature, and community. And the OSNR mission statement is we are stewards of natural resources essential to Aurora's quality of life. As an OSNR volunteer steward, you are helping staff support our missions. The OSNR division is broken up into 3 different groups. The first is the naturalist team, of which I am a part of. We provide educational experiences for people of all ages and backgrounds. We do wildlife monitoring and natural resource management. The volunteer program is coordinated by the naturalist team. Then we have the ranger team, which facilitates public safety, education and enforcement of trail, open space, and reservoir regulations. And finally, we have our maintenance and operations team, which does invasive species control, snow removal, habitat restoration, and trail maintenance. As OSNR volunteers, you are supporting the OSNR division teams. Our funding sources help us carry out the mission of being stewards of natural resources essential to Aurora's quality of life, and we are largely funded by the Arapahoe County Open Space Sales Tax. This tax allocates 25 cents for every $100 spent to fund open space. It pays for over 50% of our department and a lot of our salaries, and it's due to be voted again in 2028. If Aurora did not have this sales tax, we would not have such an extensive trail system, no recreation at the reservoirs, and we would not have our nature centers or naturalist team. Then we have the Adams County sales tax, which funds most of the exhibits that are at the Morrison Nature Center. The Colorado Lottery, which funds our Generation Wild program. This program serves underprivileged youth and helps facilitate a connection with nature. It's also used for funding to purchase more open space, so I encourage you to play the lottery. Then we have the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District funds. Seasonal salaries for naturalists are paid through this, exhibits at the Plains Conservation Center and the Seanac Creek Nature Center, and it helps us make program and office supply purchases. So why am I telling you all this? Because volunteer hours help us get grants and continue to fund our program and the acquisition of more natural areas. This is one of the reasons why it's so important for you to log your volunteer hours. The mission of the volunteer program is to preserve open spaces that connect people with nature today and in the future through effective stewardship practices. And the vision of the program is that we envision a community connected with nature where wildlife thrives. Everyone can be an effective steward. We use the word steward quite a bit, and I want to make sure that you understand what stewardship means in this context. A natural resource steward is someone who protects nature through conservation, sustainable practices, and education. As an OSNR steward, you are caring for nature through various practices, connecting with nature and helping other people connect with nature too. So if nature stewardship sounds appealing and you can align with the mission and the vision, you are in the right place to volunteer. So now I'm going to go over the opportunities that we are currently offering. All these opportunities are not things that you have to commit to on a weekly or monthly basis. It's based on your interest and availability. I try to set things up to be as flexible for volunteers as possible. The first one is called Adopt a Natural Area. By adopting a natural area, volunteers are given the tools and training to practice land stewardship by taking care of a particular open space. Volunteers may choose a natural area that they want to care for or be assigned one that works best for them. The duties include trash removal, light trail maintenance, wildlife monitoring, invasive species removal, educating others about the importance of healthy natural areas. You are required to schedule a meeting with the volunteer coordinator to choose a natural area and receive training. The training covers how to report maintenance issues, how to monitor wildlife using designated platforms, how to identify and properly remove invasive plant species, and how to communicate with trail users about what you are doing and why it's important. This opportunity gives volunteers the chance to feel some ownership and focus on one of the particular areas that they enjoy or has meaning to them. The next opportunity is trail stewardship, which is similar to Adopt a Natural Area, but instead of focusing all your efforts to one specific area, your stewardship practices are spread out across the Aurora Trail system. As a trail steward, you are the extra eyes and ears for the OSNR staff. We have 8,000 acres of open space and over 100 miles of trail that are difficult to monitor and maintain with the 40+ staff that makes up OSNR. You report issues using designated pathways like calling the ranger line or using the Access Aurora app. You provide a positive presence on the trails and do some spot maintenance like picking up trash and light surface trail maintenance. Finally, you report wildlife observations using applications like iNaturalist and Budburst. There is a required training to be an OSNR trail steward. We have several wildlife monitoring opportunities available, and these monitoring efforts are essential to provide adequate information about the diversity of species in Aurora's open spaces. We do monthly bird counts at the Plains Conservation Center. We do bi-monthly counts at other sites like Star K Ranch and Red-tailed Hawk Park. And we do quarterly counts at the Aurora Reservoir. Bald Eagle Watch is a collaborative effort with the Bird Conservancy of the Rockies and Colorado Parks and Wildlife, with the goal of understanding the bald eagle population in Colorado and how they are adapting to the human-dominated and ever-changing landscape. Butterfly monitoring is done with the Butterfly Pavilion and aims to capture data on the various butterfly species and population numbers in Colorado and nationwide. We do insect collections and curate educational displays for our nature centers. So we have volunteers help capture and pin them into beautiful display cases. The Colorado Spider Survey is a study with the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Paula Cushing, the arachnologist there, has been doing this survey for over 20 years, and OSNR volunteers can contribute to the project, and then we get species data of what is present in Aurora. Monthly BioBlitzes are programs where volunteers get together to do a biological survey of a specific natural area to get a snapshot of the biodiversity during that time. We use the iNaturalist app to do these BioBlitzes. And finally, as a trail steward, you can report wildlife observations while you are walking the trails. There are other wildlife monitoring opportunities that come up periodically that volunteers can participate in that I didn't necessarily cover in this presentation. The next opportunity is habitat restoration. Last year, I started a restoration project at the Plains Conservation Center with the goal of increasing biodiversity and maintaining the remnant shortgrass prairie that is there. We had a really successful first year focusing on a 22-acre plot. We removed invasive plants, we monitored wildlife, we collected native plant seed, and planted several plots with the seeds that we collected. I plan to continue this project for the rest of my career, as land management is an ongoing thing that never really has an end point. This is a great opportunity for volunteers to immerse and connect with the wildlife of the prairie and practice stewardship by giving back to the ecosystems that provide us with the various essential services we need as humans to survive. As humans, we have come to intricately understand the natural world scientifically and spiritually, and I believe that our ecological role is to be caretakers of the earth. Volunteers help by removing invasive plant species, by monitoring wildlife, collecting native plant seed, and plant that seed. And this year, I am designing it with a research component, giving volunteers the opportunity to be a part of a scientific research project while immersing and connecting with nature on a more personal level. As part of the restoration project at the Plains Conservation Center, this year we are starting a native plant garden just outside the visitor center. The garden will serve as an educational garden to teach people how to identify native plants, what native plants are available for landscaping, how to monitor phenology using the Budburst application, and we're going to use it as a seed bank for native species. We also have a native sensory garden at the Morrison Nature Center that needs regular maintenance and plan to create one at the Senac Creek Nature Center. We need volunteer help to plant, maintain, teach, and collect seeds from these gardens. Volunteer Naturalist is our next opportunity, and Volunteer Naturalist assists the naturalist team in education and interpretation. We teach people about all aspects of the natural world and interact with people from all walks of life, from pre-K to seniors. Volunteer naturalists can assist naturalist staff with programs by helping set up and clean up, or they can lead their own programs with training and shadowing of the naturalist staff. Volunteer naturalists can also staff the nature centers, the nature center desks, greet visitors, answer phone calls, provide information about the trails, and assist with any special projects like data entry. This is an opportunity that we currently need more help with. We have been short-staffed for some time and often have to close nature centers or decline program requests because we don't have enough staff to accommodate the demand. Our next opportunity is event support volunteer. The naturalist staff holds various educational events throughout the year and need volunteers to successfully coordinate these events. Volunteers interact with event attendees, support event programs and activities, assist with setup and takedown, and help with any other duties as needed. The next opportunity is Special Project Volunteer. Volunteers help with special projects that come up on an as-needed basis. Some examples include carpentry, sewing, photography, data entry, tree wrapping, and more. There are a variety of other project needs that come up where volunteer contributions have been essential. I had a volunteer create a whole farm implement timeline and help us do a complete inventory on our Grange Museum at the Plains Conservation Center. They've also helped with puzzle making, building bird and bat boxes, and providing photos for marketing, brochures, and educational displays. These are projects that aren't necessarily posted on the volunteer portal as shifts. I send out these requests via the newsletters and email blasts. For example, we are currently looking for someone with some blacksmith skills to conduct some demonstrations in our blacksmith shop at the Plains Conservation Center during our events. So there are other opportunities that come up on an as-needed basis that I did not cover in this presentation, but they will also be listed on the volunteer portal. Or I may reach out to you directly if you have expressed interest in a specific area. So, what are the benefits to being an OSNR volunteer steward? There are opportunities to work with and learn from talented and experienced staff. Our staff come from a variety of educational backgrounds and have unique knowledge to share. We give milestone service awards based on years of service. We have volunteer appreciation events. Every December, there's a volunteer appreciation dinner where we recognize all of your contributions throughout the year. And the City of Aurora holds a Community Spirit Awards ceremony each year to recognize the outstanding work of volunteers from the year before. We have social and networking opportunities. Last year, I did a soddy cookout where we cooked a whole dinner in the sod houses at the Plains Conservation Center. And this year, we are planning a campfire social. You get to interact with people that have similar interests. Many of the volunteers that we have become friends and do volunteer activities together. We can provide letters of reference and job training. We provide exclusive continuing education opportunities. So each month we offer a class that's just for OSNR volunteers, and they're on varying topics designed to enrich your experience with nature and to become a better land steward. For example, this month's continuing education class is on Aurora water, and some of the upcoming classes include living with wildlife, a nature film club, animal mythology, beavers in Aurora, art in nature, and so much more. We do newsletter spotlights. You get to assist people to connect with nature through understanding and appreciation. Volunteers have a sense of purpose in giving back to nature. So we provide exclusive outings and tours for OSNR volunteers, which include tours of the water treatment and wastewater plants, and behind-the-scenes tours of the butterfly pavilion. And finally, we give out a free Aurora and Quincy Reservoir Pass with 20 hours of service that is given to you at the beginning of the year for the previous year's service. So, what are the requirements? Well, you have to fill out an application and make a profile. You need to sign the volunteer agreement and liability waiver, which you will do when you make your profile. You have to pass a background check every 2 years, which is paid for by the city. Be committed to the mission. Represent the City of Aurora in a positive manner. Wear your uniform while you're volunteering. Not volunteer under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Successfully complete required training, and have the ability to work outdoors under varying weather conditions and on natural surface terrain. We want you to actively participate, so read and respond to newsletters and notify us if you can't fulfill a commitment. And finally, we want you to log all of your volunteer hours. If you register for an opportunity online, it automatically logs your hours. If you did not register online, it is your responsibility to log your hours. For example, trail stewardship is a very autonomous opportunity that you do whenever works best for you, so you have to log your hours. So now I want to quickly go through the volunteer portal and how you find opportunities to sign up for. So this is what the volunteer portal looks like. You are going to go to auroragov.org/volunteer, and then you're going to click on that purple button at the bottom of the screen that says click here for volunteer opportunities. Then that will take you to this page, which is all of the volunteer opportunities that are available throughout the whole city. The ones you want to look for have OSNR in the title. Once you find one you're interested in, click on it, read about it, and then you can register for it. To log volunteer hours, you're going to click on Login, the top right-hand corner. That will take you to this page after you log in. And on the bottom left, there is a link that says Report Hours. That's where you're going to click to report your hours. After clicking there, this is what it looks like on the left-hand side. When it says Select a Survey, you're going to pick which volunteer opportunity you performed. So let's say that you went out and did trail stewardship. You would select trail stewardship, the date, the hours, and what you did. If at any point you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to reach out to me, and my contact information is right here on the right-hand side. So the OSNR Volunteer Resources. The handbook is a great resource which will be sent to you digitally or given to you when you get your volunteer shirt and name badge. I'm still working on the web page, but it will eventually have all of this available on auroragov.org/OSNR Volunteers. Additionally, I send out a newsletter every 2 months with upcoming opportunities, continuing education classes, and other information. Don't hesitate to email, call, or text me with any questions about anything that comes up. Staying informed. How do you keep up on the news and with opportunities? Well, you can visit the volunteer portal, you can engage with the newsletter, watch out for my emails, give me a call, visit the auroragov.org/OSNR Volunteers webpage, or you can stop by the Plains Conservation Center. Don't hesitate to email, call, or text me with any questions about anything. As volunteers, we greatly appreciate that you want to donate your time to helping maintain natural areas and connecting people with nature. So we are committed to ensuring your experience with us is fulfilling and enjoyable. We aim to be professional in our dealings with you. We value your contributions. We are accessible and approachable. We provide trainings. We define our expectations. We are happy to give you feedback, and we honor each one of your unique skill sets. Thank you so much for your interest in joining the OSNR volunteer team, and I hope that I've convinced you to join us. If that is the case, please complete the survey. Once that is complete, you are welcome to start registering for any OSNR opportunities or continuing education classes. The first time you come to volunteer, you'll be given an OSNR volunteer shirt and badge. Thank you, and I look forward to working with you.